I'll let somebody
Yeah,
else
that makes
share.
sense. That makes a lot of sense. Well, Natalie, I agree with you as far as it's super important to seek support, because as we begin to set boundaries, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of guilt that comes up. You're going to disappoint and confuse a lot of the people around you that are used to you not not standing up for yourself. So it's really important to do that. To really,
A lot of these people are your family members, right? So
yeah,
you want, yeah.
I was
Yeah,
going to say, I love that you brought that up, Amy, because it does get confusing when we start placing these boundaries around us that we never had before, right? People have expectations because we've set those expectations.
right.
So when we try to shift them and change them, they're like, but wait a minute, you always pick me up after work. Why aren't you here today? Right? So communicating those, being accepting of those. But one thing, Victoria, when you were talking, I realized sometimes, and this happened to me too, we're not aware that we're betraying ourselves, right? And we're self-sabotaging. For me, when I was younger, with dating men, I was so afraid of getting left or dumped that I would already start going through like, well, if this doesn't happen by this date, then I'm going to just dump him. And this whole elaborate thing. But I honestly wasn't even aware that that was like me doing that until years later, right? And late 30s, like, but I was sabotaging every relationship that I was in, and then wondering, I'm like, well, why can't I keep someone? Well, because I was doing this. So that level of awareness too, right? And it's okay that we're not aware, but we, all the four of us, are here to help you with this podcast, starting with this, to get aware. Like, it's okay that we have these behaviors, and there are ways to shift past them.
Yeah. So you're very strategically letting them go.
Yeah, because and obviously it's not like an overnight thing. Like, oh, okay, great. I was self-sabotaging. Let me change that. No, it's work. It's a lot of work, and it is possible.
And I think that that's something that we really don't think about, self-sabotaging, self-betrayal when we're younger. No one was ever talking about those things. No one's talking about that in the community. It wasn't until I got to college, when I was in my clinical social work program, that came up. And then we started, diving into what that meant, and these aha moments, like, okay, that's what that always was. And then when we went into healing, with you, Victoria, it comes up again until we're ready to start working on ourselves. That's when that word becomes like, this word does exist, and how it applies to me.
Right.
It's
and
new vocabulary.
Right. And we know this, and that's where all the pushback comes from others, because they may not be aware of self-sabotage or self-betrayal. So to them, it just looks like you're disregarding them or you're betraying them.
Yeah, so it looks like you're being up, right? Because
you're
becoming someone new.
That's selfish.
Yeah, but we also have to understand where they're coming from. They're used to the old version, right?
Absolutely. And they don't know they may not know about this. So to them, you're abandoning them.
Right. And that is part of the fear. If this person is becoming this new person, what does that mean in our relationship? Where do I stand in that relationship?
Absolutely. I love that you said.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just going to quickly say, I love that you said the word selfish, Amy, because a lot of people, when we start prioritizing ourselves and saying no, there is this perception that we're becoming selfish. But for me, and as a coach, I say this all the time, it's not selfish when it's taking care of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. And there's a huge distinction, right? If you're always saying no and never show up for people, sure, maybe you're being selfish. But every once in a while, when you're learning how to navigate this, it's okay. It's okay to take care of your needs first.